Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to the momsplanation. We are sitting down with the lovely Chande.
Chande.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for being here with us today.
Of course, I was very excited to come here today.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm
She's
so
a
glad.
listener.
She is a listener. It's a love story of a listener who wanted to come on and talk with us. And we love that. It's the best. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So you are a mom as well.
Yes.
Of course, a mom, and a police officer.
Yep.
And what else is your life about?
Pretty quiet.
Yes?
I try to stay quiet. We live far away from where we work.
Okay.
I need that time when I'm going to work to get ready for it and coming home to kind of transition.
Yeah.
So we live about an hour away-ish from where we work.
Okay.
And I try to stay quiet when I'm not working. So
Yeah.
I'm
Nice.
a lot with the kids and family and
Yeah.
sleep.
And so how old are your children?
So they're 6 and gonna be 4.
Okay. Wow.
And boys, right?
Yeah,
Boys,
2
yep.
boys. Oh, man.
Busy time.
Yeah.
Busy time. So I have to ask out of curiosity, what is it like to be pregnant as a police officer? So are you in so when you were pregnant, were you in a squad car? Are you pulling people over? Like, how does that work?
It's a very good question. So,
I've always wondered, like, can you imagine?
well,
Anyways.
you could. It's
Okay.
really up to the individual. However,
Okay.
I was not going to take that risk because
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you pull up to someone who's like a psycho,
Right.
it's like I've always thought of that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you protect yourself if you're pregnant and you've got to chase someone or someone's insane and tries to run you over? Like
And does the vest fit when
Yeah.
you're pregnant? Is my other question.
That's right. Do they have maternity bulletproof vests?
they do have maternity
Do they?
outfits.
Okay.
Man. So when I was pregnant with my oldest,
Yeah.
it just so happened that our inside like station operator, like the people that answer the phones and stuff, we didn't have one, so I just kind of slid into that job. But
Oh, okay.
my staff sergeant at the time wanted me to wear the maternity smock.
Okay.
And it was the ugliest thing ever.
It's like this matronly, I'm envisioning this like matronly, like Handmaid's Tale kind of outfit.
and
Yeah,
it was
okay.
Like, it was the same shirt too, about just underneath like the bra line.
Yeah.
And it was pleated like a
Oh,
cheerleader. Yeah.
Goodness.
Like you're going to a Catholic high school.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
stretchy pants. I
Nice.
have it. I refuse
to
I
answer
give it back.
phones? So- but-
Yeah, because you're at the front, people come. to the
Oh, I
front.
see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like. And then when I was pregnant with my youngest, there was an opportunity to work down at cold case sex crime, so I was in an office.
Yeah.
So it was good to be
Okay.
down there. So then I could wear just my own clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
This
good.
Ugly maternity.
So,
whatever.
so being a police officer, did it ever cross your mind or impact your decision to actually have children? Like, did you ever think like maybe I don't want to have them in this profession?
So I'll tell you, I didn't want to have kids till I met my husband.
Okay.
Just the way my family life was growing up, and just wanted a break. I had 2 young half sisters.
Okay.
And then I met my husband, and we decided to have kids. Then what? It wasn't so much that, but after I had my first, and I'll tell you the reason why I reached out to you is because through you guys, I realized I'm not crazy. And
Okay.
Yes.
That's
do still
amazing.
have anxiety is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't realize like postpartum anxiety is a thing. I just
Totally.
thought it was postpartum depression.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So after I had my first, I was a mess.
Yeah.
You know, like the crying and they're so, this is normal. Well, nobody told me.
Right. Yep.
You know, I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
And it was tough. And I very, not, I should say into, sounds like weird. But, you know, I grew up on horror movies, so I like a lot of dark content.
Right.
I'm interested in, you know, like a serial killer stuff, whatever, documentaries.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. I love true crime stories.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So my husband was watching it. I'm like, I can't watch this. You have to turn it off. I don't think I can go back to work.
Right.
Like this was just like within the first like 6 weeks or so. I came out of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still highly anxious about everything. I'm paranoid more than I just normally am.
Right.
I mean, I was that kid when I was young, and my dad would like stop at a bank. I
Yeah.
would think about if someone got into the driver's seat, what would I do? What would surround me? Like I've always been that way, but now
Yeah.
it's so much worse.
Yeah.
Then I had my second.
Right.
I felt normal again.
Oh.
But then my oldest had like a freak accident, knocked his teeth.
Yeah.
And I'm right back to pretty much. So
Yeah.
time of day bothers me.
Yeah.
So it has helped me with my job, and the fact that I'm even more sympathetic, but I also really can't stand bad parents more.
Right.
It's
Yes.
become a thing.
Yeah.
I was always interested in going to the child exploitation unit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's kind of just enforced that for me. If I ever get there, scheduling is it's a big thing.
Yeah.
My husband's a police officer too, so luckily we have tons of help. My mom and my husband's mom help offset, and they babysit.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
It's amazing because we're so fearful.
Yeah.
Everything is,
Of course.
Like, no one other than our family, and really our family is just like my mom and my stepdad or my husband's parents have watched our kids.
It's like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the same
we're
way.
The same.
You know, because we just don't want to take that risk. And I get living in you can't live like that. But I don't want to be a statistic either.
That's right.
No, me neither.
I just don't.
Yep.
So it's tough, but we're making it work. And so,
Yeah, to sort of cycle back to that, it's like for me, I'm hypersensitive as well about who cares for my children, because growing up, like I was abused by my uncle who was a trusted family member. Yeah. So even, in my mind, that created the mentality of like, you don't really even know the people that are closest to you. Mm-hmm. Yes. Like there could be someone with issues that are deep-seated or underlying that you don't discuss or you don't know about, and then you put a vulnerable individual in their care and it comes out, right?
100%. It's in my family too.
Yeah.
Won't get too much into that just because of
no problem.
Who's listening that knows that this is me.
Yeah.
But 100% and like very close bloodline, and it's that's kind of why I've always been interested in this direction of like where I want to go in my career.
Yeah, which I find is interesting because for me, my thought process is like, I think that if I worked with people or in the capacity that you're talking about that abused children or whatever, like I would be homicidal. I think like my ability to like keep my emotions in check would be like zero, and I'd be like the Punisher. Like I would become the Punisher. Sure. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I could do it.
No, it's true. I mean, it's different because I have kids. The only person I'm going to kill is anyone who hurts my children.
Right.
That's right.
I've said it to everyone. If you see me get arrested, it'll probably be with a smile because I just killed someone who did something to my kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm trying not to
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
right. There you go. That's right.
But yeah, no, as far as affecting my job, like that decision of having kids.
Yeah.
We do see a lot of just all walks of life.
Of course.
Hardship affects everybody.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to do the best we can for our kids and whoever they are going to be.
Yeah.
What I don't want them to be cops.
Yeah,
but
which
of course,
is interesting.
They both want to be one.
Of course,
I feel like one of them will be. And it's nice. It's hard being in this job. I've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I should be proud of it, but it's hard because it's a very controversial topic.
Of course.
You go to a party, everybody wants to know, did you kill anybody?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Did you arrest anybody? You did. Like, they're shocked that you've arrested someone.
Yeah.
But they're, like, shocked that you also haven't killed somebody.
Well, it's because,
weird.
like the media propaganda, especially from the United States, is all about, like, cops killing people, shooting people, like, blah, blah, blah. And people, I think, have a hard time like differentiating the fact that like policing in the United States is very and vastly different from policing 100%. In Canada. Yeah. So it's like they just assume that like, oh, like everyone in Chicago is getting shot by cops, so like everyone in Toronto is probably doing the same.
I mean, like don't get me wrong, there's going to be bad apples in everything. Every business
for sure.
It just is.
Yeah.
And that's fine, and I'm definitely okay with that kind of concept because that's what the media puts out.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, you can't really understand what I do anyways unless you do it.
That's right,
and I do it so you don't have to.
Right.
Do you know, like it gives me comfort in knowing that when people don't really know things, or like, and I'm not saying naive, but if you want to say that, it makes me feel good because that means you don't have to know what I know.
Right.
Because I'm broken now.
Right.
Like I am. And I'm like, and I know that I deal with it. I had to do all I just started listening to your podcast. It was the second one I've listened to.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for that.
It was great.
That's
honestly,
good.
I think I messaged you guys saying it's like therapy for me, and it is.
That's
it's like
amazing.
having a conversation I'm not a part of.
Right.
Yeah.
Just listening.
But I'm like, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what made you decide to be a police officer when you're like 18 or 19 years old? Like, I'm going to be a police officer.
Oh, you're bringing me back. Okay, so I had no direction.
Okay.
Like
many teenagers.
Yes, you should. I don't
Yes.
know why they encourage. Do you know you're going to be? You're 8 years old. You need to know. No.
I know it's like a shopping list for life.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do? Are you married? Like
Yes.
all these things that they put on you
Yeah.
at a young age. So I remember when I was in high school, I was the last year to get grade 13.
Yep.
And then they took it away. So the year that I graduated, it was like the grade 12s were graduating and we were
13s.
graduating.
Yeah.
So, but like everyone was like, some of the kids were like just turned 17. It's like,
Yeah.
even for me who was 18, I'm like, I don't even know what I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
last year,
you can't
I
even
really
buy beer
didn't know.
yet, and they want you to decide
Yeah.
what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
Both.
Yeah.
17 too. Have
Crazy.
A late birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, I applied to I had I didn't know. So I knew I didn't want to be a cop. My father's one too.
Oh,
my
okay.
goodness.
I didn't want to be a cop. Didn't want to marry one. Well, I failed at both of those.
Okay.
So I was going to York,
Yeah.
and they went on strike. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I do remember that.
I was
yeah.
there at that time. I also went to York.
Okay,
Yes.
So I was in my
Gosh.
third year, and during I had applied for English, and then my second year, because I went to English at Glendon.
Yeah.
And my orientation, they're like, yeah, to graduate from the school, you need to take French grade whatever or level whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to go to Kiel. I can't say anything in French.
Yeah.
I should have read the package, duh.
Yeah.
So whatever. So I went over to Kiel and I did a fast track and did 2 year in 1 year for economics. I never even took math past grade 11. Why
Right.
I thought I could do economics?
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. Then I went back to English. Then they went on strike.
Okay.
So I was lifeguarding at the time, and I couldn't pick up more shifts because they kept saying, "Oh, you're going back next week or 2 weeks." You don't remember,
Right.
Yeah. It was like
forever.
all up in the air. It's
Yeah.
like, so you couldn't commit to anything because it's like, well, I could be
Could go
back
back
in
tomorrow.
class
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was a pain. So just
Yeah.
kind of, floating, whatever.
Yeah.
And so at the time, my stepmom said, "Well, why don't you call your mom?" My mom worked in the civilian side.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, maybe I'll see.
Your
if they
mom is
have
also a
something.
police officer?
She's civilian.
Oh, okay.
She was, yeah.
So a duty police officer or no?
So no, she worked at the headquarters.
Oh,
In the
okay.
records department.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
That was like,
sorry.
whoa, like right over my head. It's like,
Different
oh,
language
it's like, what?
Civilian.
Am I awake? I do know what civilian means, but okay. Did
Gotcha.
you get that?
Sort of,
It's like,
yes.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Well,
I know. Speak a different language sometimes.
that's okay.
So, and then my dad said, "I want you to go to the information session first. Just go on your own." Oh, fine, whatever. I
Yeah.
do everything. I'm
That's right.
19.
Yeah, of
I
course.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I went, and it was this is what I want to do. They sold me.
Right.
They sold me. And so I put in, and I got in within that year.
Okay.
And I finished my degree, because when they went back, I finished it
Yeah.
while I was working.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how I got on.
And the rest is history, as
Yeah.
they say. So what experiences do you think in your job have damaged you the most? Like, because you say that you're damaged, so it's like, what are the experiences of? Because I'm positive that the profession is very weighty. Like it creates a huge weight. So what are they?
Okay, so I think everybody is a little bit different on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
what I
sure.
mean, what will affect or what won't affect.
Yeah.
Everybody might assume the obvious, like something like a tragedy. Sure.
Right.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But it's seeing what people do to their own flesh and blood
Yeah.
is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to believe that we're actually helping people.
Yeah.
That's what you're sold on. You're sold on this idea and concept of, I'm going to make a difference.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
if it's for one person. But
Yep.
the process is very difficult. The court system is very hard, especially for the victims.
Yes.
Which makes it difficult for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because you want to help people and they don't understand why it's not a more simple process. And I get it. Like, of course you would think that should be obvious, or this should be a no-brainer case,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
whatever, but it's not.
Yep.
And I've now started telling complainants or victims that, like, the courts will see you and the accused the exact same.
Yeah.
You're both equal. And in fact, they have more rights. Like, they have so much that protects them, because you want to make sure that I get it, is who's going to court or jail. is supposed to be there.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's why we live here.
Yeah.
It's just very, very trying.
Right.
Yep.
And it's really hard on people, and it's hard because we can only commit so much time.
Yeah.
So it's a long process.
Yeah.
So just years of that, and then you throw in the very. I'm very sarcastic. Sorry.
That's okay.
Very fun calls of, child abuse or deaths or just family violence. That's very real. We get a lot that's kind of minor in nature. Okay, it's a one-off kind of thing. Nothing serious, and they just didn't know that police were going to arrest the person, right, or something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the very chronic cases, and I literally sat across on the table from a young girl. She was pregnant with her second. I shouldn't say girl. She was 25-ish age. And she was chronic abuse in the family to her, like her and her significant other. And she was justifying it. And she was like, he only hits me 3 times a year or whatever. And it's just hard because you can see where they're coming from, because it's not all bad. We get that. That's why it's so specific, because for us there's no emotion. Yeah. But for the person involved there is, and there's kids involved. Yeah. And it's just hard to go home and don't
right.
little ones it's.
Yeah. So I think for me, thinking about those situations or thinking about dealing with, responding to a home where someone has, hurt their child, murdered their child, whatever it is, it's I don't know how I could compartmentalize that in in myself and then go home and be a mother.
It's you have to leave yourself.
You have to sort of unzip yourself that exists into your job and then zip up a different suit.
Be super mom at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes too, and the reason why I started listening to podcasts, because a few months ago I started going I started feeling really like I'm not myself.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure out why. I still don't really know, but I'll just say listening to podcasts. I also started meditating. It's not someone told me 6 months ago you should meditate. It's
amazing.
Okay. It is.
Yeah, yes. It is. Yeah.
And I'd be yeah, sure, whatever. But I did. And, it really helps. So I just feel more like myself still a little bit.
Yeah. So what are your outlets for support?
I was just going to ask that too.
What are the things that you do to make sure that you are taken care of in the capacity of your profession and then just as being a woman and yourself?
Still figuring that out every day.
Yeah.
I think everybody is, right? Because something that might work for you now might not later.
Yeah.
My husband, like I said, he's also on the job, and that really helps. There's 2 points of view.
Okay.
Some people prefer to not be, so they don't talk about it, but I'm a talker.
Yeah.
And I need to. If I've had a bad day, I need to talk about it, and I don't have to explain anything to him.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If I know, there's no explanation of, well, this is why we did this, or this is what this means.
Yeah.
We just know the language anyways.
Right.
So that really helps.
Yeah.
A lot of support, my family. So, I was working out, so I'm not someone who likes to work out.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
me neither.
Surprise. Yeah. I was always active as a kid, and then when I went back to work after my first, I started really getting into it.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. It was working, whatever. And then I had a detective who knew my husband and myself make a pass at me. From me just nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm well, I'm not going to put myself in that situation anymore. I'm still upset about that today.
Yeah.
Because how dare you?
Yeah.
You took away my opportunity. It's something that I get to look forward to. It's my own time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even do anything, but now I feel like I did.
Right.
Right. So we've made a gym at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do what we can. But my kids are still so young, and they're so attached. And
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So does the job offer you things regular? I know the benefits are good because my girlfriend's husband is a police officer, but
support.
Do they? Yeah, I wonder. My in my mind, I imagine there being some sort of department.
Or after my shift, is there a room that I can go to and just vent?
Do you hire the person
who do I talk to
that hugs you for an hour if you need? Is there a room that has blue light so your blood pressure? You sit in there. Right. This is what I envision, right? Are these wonderful. Available?
There is a group that they give you the phone number. Yeah. I think it was your podcast. You guys were talking about after you have a baby and they give you these pamphlets.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
It's the same thing. I've got a magnet. I have used them, not for work-related things, so more personal family issues, which is great, but they're short-term.
Yeah.
And I know there is benefits that I could pay and find some. I haven't, that's something I've thought about actually recently. I just don't know where to start and who's going to,
I feel like they should be doing that for you guys. Like,
yeah,
I
feel like it's too important. Right?
This is where you need to start.
Yeah.
And if you get nowhere with this, you come back to me and we're going to get you whatever it is. Like, this is just like mind boggling. Like,
I just feel like, especially in today's society when there's so much dialogue about mental health and mental stability and illness and all these things, it's like, you know, we can talk about it. And I say this to my kids all the time, especially my older kids. It's like, you can tell me that you're sorry until you're blue in the face, but if your actions don't support the apology, then the words mean nothing. And I'm really trying to help them to understand that. So I find in today's culture, it's like we talk about like how mental health is important and we need to take care of these things and blah, 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 blah. And it's okay to not be okay. But it's like, it's all just words because like when you put, you know, the words to action, there really is no action happening. There's been no change in terms of like support for new mothers, in terms of even when we were talking about Sean's mom, about support when you've had, you know, like critical injury happen to a loved one. Like there's no support
for her.
You know, her son's life was basically altered drastically and she didn't have anywhere to go or anyone to talk to. And it's like for me, thinking about, you know, first responders and people who are employed to protect us and take care of us in our extreme times of need, you know, who's taking care of them in their times of need? Who's making sure that they're stable enough to be
Anybody
there for
knows
us?
who these people are, let us know.
Yeah, that's
it's the
right.
same with this Bell Let's Talk Day.
Yeah, I can't stand the Let's Talk Day.
So I've kind of done the same thing where it's like, you know, every time I send a text message that day, where did the money go?
Yeah.
And where is it? I would like
how
someone
is it
to tell me where it is.
How is it going to benefit me?
Because
Like,
it's not.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I sent a lot of text messages
Yeah,
that day.
I know.
But that's it. Like, I want to know, it's not easy to find help. And then for new mothers, same thing. The wait list to get help
it's expensive.
is like 3 years.
Yeah. And it's expensive, right? Like if you
have
want
pay,
to do
like,
it on your own.
thousands. Yeah.
It's expensive. And I'm sure, and this is an assumption, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure there is some sort of stigma that would be attached to a police officer that is openly admitting, like, you know, I'm struggling, I'm suffering from this mental illness, you know, because you're looked down upon for not being tough enough. Like that would be my...
Yeah, I mean, they've come a long way, but of course, yes, it's still there.
It's still there,
It's
yeah.
still gonna be.
I could
It
see
might
that.
not be there on like a professional level as far as how you're treated by your superiors as far as opportunity, but it probably is.
Yeah.
But definitely for peer,
Yeah.
it would be.
Yeah. What does the support look like from women to women in the industry? I'm very interested in this.
Question. It's one to two ways. So one, you have some. I see it a lot when they come on. They're very young, and they're very competitive. But I've learned in my time.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, this is my experience anyway, so anybody's listening has a different one, that's great, but I find that at the end of the day, the women on the job, if we don't support each other, you're not going to get it from the men, push come to shove.
Right.
Okay, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just natural, it's fine.
Yeah.
But so I really do try to make sure that in my relationships with the other females that I know on the job who are open to it, that we support each other because nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
And I think that if we were to actually support each other a lot more, we could do a lot more.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like the competitiveness or catty for whatever reason, different things, or they just get on the defensive very quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe assume that's how they'll be treated, so they come off that way to protect themselves. Like it's
Right.
normal.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad. I have a lot of great friends that are female.
That's
on the
good.
Job, and that's their support there too.
Yeah.
Right? Other
Thank
moms as
goodness.
well. Yes.
Yeah.
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 That's the thing that I think, so that's my saving grace in life, is that finding people who are going through similar things as me. Like these are the things that help me to go through my day every day, right? Because some days for me it's like, okay, I just need to make it to the next hour. I need to make it to the next, whatever. I need to make it to bedtime, like, so then I can, like fall apart or, whatever it is. Yeah. But it's like through this process, especially, it's like I found that having a community of people that understand or feel the same way, like, makes it easier to deal with.
Of course,
right?
You don't feel alone.
You share the burden, right?
I was telling my husband last night, like, I think what kind of turned it around for me this past few months was, even though I already know it, I tell other people these things all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't listen to yourself.
No.
Right? Like, we're the worst for that.
Yeah.
But listening to you guys, whether it was just between the two of you or the guests you have on for certain things, it's like, okay, I'm normal.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm in a different culture because of my job.
Right. That's right.
Then that's also like a constant battle I have with myself. Is this normal? Like, I know it is.
Yeah.
But I also have these other issues because of work or whatever. So
yeah.
it can just build on itself.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of, like, support outside of your job? Like, people that, not necessarily family, but like girlfriends or people that don't exist in the job that you can, that you connect with?
Not really.
Yeah. I can imagine that your profession is fairly, like,
it's hard, right?
cliquey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
It's hard because for some reason it's like we won't say, like, I just went and got my eyebrows done for the first time in like 8 years.
Okay.
And it's like, what's your occupation? I have to lie about it. I'm a teacher.
Really?
Or say something. Yeah, because you just never know. You don't know where this information, and my address is on there.
Yeah, right.
I can't say what I do.
Yeah.
And it's sad to me.
Yeah.
But there is so I'm on the parent council. Actually, I just made chair.
Wow. Look at you.
Woot.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, I love it. I love going because it makes me feel part of something normal.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just common.
Yeah.
They actually had, I know I'm getting off topic. I will get back to it.
You're fine.
They had a mental health lady come in last year to talk about mental health and kids
Oh,
and stuff. Right?
okay.
And it was nice. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And she's like, so would anybody think of, like, any, like, stress factors? I'm like, yeah, death, suicide. Right? She's like, or tests. I'm like, oh, yeah. See, it comes down, right?
Preparing for tests or bullying. Yeah, not homicide or abuse.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it makes me feel normal. I'm surrounded by normal people.
Yeah.
The world is okay.
Yeah.
People don't call us to have coffee.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
Won't let us go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
I'm just
my
picturing
God.
that whole
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Suicide.
Yeah.
Talking about the French test on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Joseph, the bully that everyone struggles with
Who
in grade 2.
steals lunch money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
That's amazing. So good.
So, with friends, it's hard, right? Because we get that too. So, making new friends is difficult.
Yeah.
But I have some old friends that I've had for years. And it's just that, like, they've gone off and done their own things, but we reconnect. It's like, no big deal. It's like, that's the kind of friendships I need. I'm busy. I can't be sorry for not messaging you back. Or
yes.
I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't deal with that.
Yeah. I can't either.
I feel like a lot of people are like that, but I feel like there's a lot that are not.
No, there's a lot. Even like some of my girlfriends, like they will call me and they're like having a bad day, so they need to like talk about it, and that's fine. And like one of my girlfriends recently said to me, she's like, have you ever had the experience where you tell someone your problem, you give them advice, they give you advice, and you hear it, but it's not for you, so you don't take it. Yeah. But then that person realizes you didn't take their advice, and then they get pissed. I was like, I was like, I'm not that type of person. Like, I don't have to live your life. So if you ask me for advice and I give it and you don't take it, like, I just... Yeah. Like, it comes down to, it's not for you.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to be like, I hate you, like, never call me again. Right. But, like, that's how people are, right? A lot of people are. So it's like, I could see if someone messages and you don't get back to them right away, you could be like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you message me? Do you not like me anymore? We're just so needy as people, right?
Yes.
100%.
And sometimes people are more needy than others, right? It's just like all comes down to personality. But for me, at this point in my life, and I'm very transparent about it, it's like, if I don't talk to you for like 2 weeks, it's not because like I don't like you. It's because I'm drowning in my life. Like, my life is just like I'm underneath a pile of shitty diapers and emotion and, you know, craziness.
I think it's important to be selfish, if that's what you want to call it.
You have to be.
It's also something I tell a lot of people on the job too, like not officers I work with, but when I'm out there on the road or whatever, is you can't care for someone else if you're not okay.
Right.
And I don't mean okay as imperfect.
Right.
Or whatever, but if you're not right, it's going to be very difficult. Once I did become a mom, I could really understand. I financially fine, my marriage no issues, so I really understand single parents.
Yeah,
and it's got to be, or like money problems, it's just got to be so stressful. So a lot of things started to make a lot more sense in the bigger picture of the world. I was young,
of course.
Like when I got on, I wasn't naive to things, you know, but at the same time, it's hard to understand when you're not a mom. It's true. I don't even say it because they're never going to get it. But when you're not a parent, you don't understand. And when you are, you do.
Yeah.
But there is no in between.
Yeah.
And you can't tell someone who's not a parent that because they don't understand that.
Right. And then they roll their eyes at you because they're like, oh, I could imagine. And it's like, thanks, you can't imagine. But, you know, like even for my own brother, you know, before he had his own child, I know because he's just a super opinionated person. Like he had opinions on how I was like raising my kids or like managing my time or whatever. And now that he's had his own child, he's like, oh, bam. You know what I mean? But like back then, if I was to say you don't get it because you don't have kids, he'd be like, nah, you know, like I do. It's like, no, you don't. And now he's like, oh, it's like light bulbs, right? So I'm very interested. I have to know, you say to people, you can't care for someone else unless you take care of yourself first. Do you practice that? Do you feel like you practice that? No. So neither do I. So it's like, I hear that and it's like, I definitely don't feel like I practice that at all. And I have 4 people and 5, if you include Daniel, that I care for on a daily basis. Right. But it's like, I'm always last.
Yeah.
So I don't know how, still to this day, how to shift that.
I don't either. I am no expert in that at all.
Yeah.
I can't. I can barely. Like my taking time for myself now is like, hey, it's bedtime and I'm gonna do something. No, I go get my iPad and I watch Netflix.
Yeah.
And I fall asleep on the couch, eat a bag of chips. Whatever.
Yeah. For me, it's like I put away the toys, I do whatever dishes are left, and then I usually fall asleep watching whatever's on the TV.
Yeah.
Like that's my time, right?
Yay.
And there's just like, I know, right?
But you're so looking forward to it.
I know. Well, it's so funny because the other day I needed to go to the grocery store. So I've done this terrible thing where I started going to Sobeys, and because they have really nice fresh bread. Yeah. So I went there this one time, and now my entire family doesn't want any other bread. Like nobody wants any bread but this Sobeys bread. It's not even close to where I live. Like it's a far drive. Anyway, so the other day I was having a day, and Daniel was home. Daniel's my person. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get the bread. And so my 2-year-old was like, me too. And like, I love her and she's so cute and all that stuff. And I feel like I have to say that first because what I'm about to say makes me a bad mom. Oh, yeah. And I was like, no, you stay with daddy. And so he looks at me, he's like, why can't she go with you? I was like, I need to be alone. And he's like, but you're alone all the time. I'm like, when am I alone? And he's like, after they go to bed. I'm like, that doesn't count.
That does not count.
And he's like, when you go to work. I'm like, that doesn't count. No. Yeah. I'm like, just let me go. So I like left and I didn't come back for like an hour. I was like, okay, bye.
Good
and
for
literally
you. You have
like,
to.
Yeah, I just had to. And it was like, so I just like took myself on all these endeavors, like around Milton, like literally doing absolutely nothing. It ended in me buying a bottle of wine and the bread. But like, you know, I just like, that was what had to happen in that moment for me, because it's like, I just put everything off because it's like, my mind is a constant to-do list. It's like, okay, who needs to go where, who needs to do what? And it's like, I think of myself last, right? Yeah, and it's like, I've read so many books, I've talked to so many people, and still, I don't think anyone really knows how to manage it, like, to the point where you can feel as a mother like you are taking care of yourself. Unless, I think you have a nanny. I think maybe if you had a nanny.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know 100%. Yeah. I can't imagine that life.
I feel like it's like having storage. The more storage you have, the more stuff you're going to have. So I feel like the more help you have, the more you'll still put on yourself. Like, oh, I can make those Halloween costumes now.
Yeah, it's
like
true.
We just do it. And like we're the
Yeah.
worst.
But then I look at like people in the public eye, like, so I'll use Hilaria Baldwin as an example. You know who that is, right? Do you know who that is?
No.
Alec Baldwin's wife.
Oh, okay.
So they have like a bazillion kids. She's
Oh,
about to
right.
have the 5th kid. So, and they're all like under 5. I don't know.
No.
But it's like, so the only way I feel like she could do that
Yes.
is if she has multiple helpers, because her husband, I'm sure, is not around a lot
Oh, yeah.
because he has a big job. Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
like she doesn't really seem very stressed out.
She always looks great.
She always looks
Yeah.
great. So it's like, you know, I can imagine that maybe if you had multiple nannies, night nurses, a hairdresser, a chef, like all these things, then it could be
So what you're
relaxing.
saying is we need to win the lottery.
Yeah, basically.
That's our
Yeah.
answer then.
I'm trying.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
me either.
I know. We try it every week, and it just.
But that's
never-
the answer. That's it. That's all we got.
But
Yeah,
isn't that
it's
sort
true.
of sad that it's
Yeah.
like the only way that you can put yourself first as a mom, regardless of your profession, regardless if you're stay at home, if you're working, is if someone else is picking up all of the slack, right? And we can't ask that of our partners because our partners are also working and trying to provide and all those things.
And they have
Right.
a whole other set of just complicated emotions and feelings. It's different from us.
Yeah.
I know that the anxiety is different,
Yes.
or the pressure, but they do have it. It's just
They do.
It's just
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do want to say this: I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm not built for it. But those who are, man, your job is hard.
Yes.
It is because I love my kids.
Yeah.
They drive me insane.
Yeah.
Sometimes work's a break. My job.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes my job is a break too, and I don't even go there that often. But the overwhelming theme, like of support or messaging that I get from the people at work, it's like, how do you come here when you have 4 kids? It's like, I have to come here, or like I will be dead, or
Yeah.
you know, the kids will not have their mother, because it's like, you know, people like, so I'm a server at a restaurant part-time. And, you know, people there, everyone is like 11, or acts like they're 11. And, you know, they get overwhelmed with the job. And they're like, not everyone. I work with some great people. But they get overwhelmed. They're like, oh, my God. And I think to myself, it's like,
Honey.
Just wait.
I'm like, please come to my house and just have a moment with my 4 children for like 24 hours, and then come back here and realize that, oh, this is actually quite easy. Like, this isn't even. My girlfriend and I, who works with me, were joking, like, we get really upset about people who don't tip properly.
Of course.
So I'm going to have a moment here. If you're listening, tip 20%, not less. Okay? Unless your server is like picking his nose and
That's
like
right.
not getting your order right. Anyways, so we're talking about how, you know, we get quite upset when people don't tip us properly, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, but people don't understand like what goes into the job, right? And it's like, and then we were talking about like how actually like being a mother is way harder than the serving, and nobody tips us. Like
right.
nobody's given us any tips, like positive tips.
Yeah.
I mean, like nobody's yeah. Not in a positive way, but nobody's upset about that. Do you know what I
Right?
mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I'm doing this crazy job of raising these 4 people that are just sucking the life out of me all the time. And it's like, nobody's giving me like 20%.
High five.
Here's 20% back. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, but at the work, it's like,
Tip your mom, kids.
yeah,
Tip
exactly.
your mom.
No, just be nice to your mom. God.
Yeah, please.
So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think that in any capacity of whatever you're doing, I think dealing with putting yourself first is like nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Which sounds terrible and
But it
negative,
is
but
the
I
hardest
really
thing to
think
do.
it's like
Yeah.
But it's
accurate.
true.
Yeah.
It's just true.
Yeah.
There's so much out there to compete with.
Yeah.
Or whatever, whether it's with yourself. I know
Yeah.
I compete with myself all the time. I'm really bad for it, but I can't help it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And like for me, the worst thing that I do to myself, and I'm really trying not to do it anymore, but it literally takes effort for me to remind myself not to do this, is like the comparing myself to other people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look what they have, or look what they're doing,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, well, why am I not doing that? And it's like, I think it's something that I've perpetuated my whole life, but it's just magnified since I've become a mother because, you know, are you on social? You're on social media, obviously.
Very lightly, but yes. But
Yeah.
I do know what you're talking about.
Like they present themselves with these
Yes.
like wonderful lives and like, you know, so, but you think, you see the snapshot and it's like, oh, It's like, oh, I'm not doing that great. You know what I mean? I don't have all those things. I don't buy all these fancy things. You know, my kids don't have that or whatever.
Yeah.
And it like really drags you down, right? So that's one thing for me that I need to stop doing and remind myself that it's like, that's not important, I guess.
No,
but it's hard to do in today's society, right?
It's all in your face. Whether you're on social media or not, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the world is so small now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything is so accessible. Yeah. It's very scary.
Yes.
Yeah, it is very scary. So what are the things that so I was going to say, like with a significant other that works in the same industry, I'm sure you guys deal with things differently, right? So do you find that he's like really understanding of the way that you deal with things or not? Like
he is.
He is. Okay, that's good. That's good.
He's one of a kind. Like
Yeah.
I said before in the beginning, I wasn't going to marry a cop either.
Yeah.
But he was different. And we've been together now, well, pretty much almost 10 years, about 9 years.
Yeah.
But he was just different. He was quieter. If we went out with a group, he wasn't making offhanded comments about the waitress or whatever. Just very...
Yeah.
Whether they mean it or not, he wasn't participating in it.
Right.
And then after we were together, it's funny, and I have told him, but he didn't know at the time. There's people that he worked with that would come up to me and like, you know, he doesn't even like look at other women. And like they're shocked like that because that's not the culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I've heard about this culture of police officers. Yeah. Is it as incestuous as people say?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. I don't.
It has a reputation though for like
totally
everybody
does,
having sex with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the whole Grey's Anatomy thing though.
Yeah.
Like people think that that's what actually happens.
Yeah.
They don't have time for that shit.
No. Like nobody's having sex in the on-call room.
No.
Yeah. Like that's not a real thing.
They're saving lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. So I don't.
So it's not that way.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's more than maybe any other profession. Like I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's very rare and it's very out there if it does happen. As far as like everybody finds out, there is no secrets in this job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it gets around because you'll tell someone or that person will tell somebody.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
It's not as commonplace as like Ricky Blue. You see that show?
I've never seen that show.
Ricky Blue.
No.
Terrible, eh?
It's okay.
Like, do you laugh? Like, this is not an
I
accurate representation of my profession?
Yeah, that's great. It's
That's
like,
funny.
I wish it was like that.
Yeah.
Get on the job and then you're working undercover. No.
Yeah. That's not how it is.
No.
It's like Law and Order SVU.
Never seen it.
So but it's not true. So it's this is not funny, but it's kind of funny because when I was in high school, someone that I knew was sexually assaulted. Quite badly, and it was very obvious because it was at a party and everyone witnessed it basically. Okay.
Yeah.
So we took her away from the party and she went to the police obviously, and he was arrested. But like to your point that you made earlier, like we felt like we did something wrong and we were just witnesses and she was the victim and we were just telling exactly what we saw. But the way they treated us was like we were like prostitutes. Like I was 16 years old. They were treating us like we were like prostitutes, like on the corner, like with our vaginas open, like just like here we are, like you're invited, you know what I mean? And so he was like welcome to it, you know? And I remember being so horrified that this was happening. And so then I watched these shows like Law and Order SVU when they're like to the victim like, "Oh, I'm going to fight for you and everything's okay." And like the prosecutor's like, "Yes, we believe," like never, like nobody held our hands. No. Like I still can see the face of this woman that was the police officer. Like she was on TV one time for some other case. And I was like, I hate you. You were the worst person I've ever met. Because it was like, we did something wrong. And I remember telling her like in this little interrogation room, I was like, I know that I don't have to be here. So you're making me feel like shit. So I'm going to leave. And then she was like, well, don't you want to help your friend? And I was like, well, what is happening right now is not helping my friend at all. Or myself. Like I'm putting myself through this horrible thing. Yeah. And I remember the defense attorney. This is so crazy. But she came up to us in the bathroom, which I don't even think she was allowed to do. And she was like, "Are you sure you girls want to go through with this?" And she was like some Jewish lady. And I was like,
Yep.
Yep. And I was like, it was just this crazy thing.
Yeah.
It's very bad. It is very bad.
And that's unfortunate. I feel really bad that you'd had that experience, but it does happen. Or there's also a kind of, you might not understand why we're doing what we're doing. I was not there. I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does happen where they're like, well, why would you ask me that question? Because if I don't ask you, the defense is going to ask you that question.
Well,
but it has to be kind of explained like that. Like,
yeah,
that's right.
I'm going to start a statement. I'll say, like, there's going to be certain questions I'm going to ask you, but it's very important.
Yeah.
And it's not because, I wanted to know what you
That's
were
right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Did you have a sign on your vagina that said, "Come on in"? Yeah.
You know?
I get
and
it.
even
Yeah.
if you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
know?
Yeah, but it's like, it's funny though, because your perception of what would take place after a crime takes place is not the
Not like
reality
TV.
of what happens,
And
right?
I'm not holding you. Well, we're kind of told to be very cautious of that because
That's
you just went
right.
through a traumatic experience. I don't want to, especially for a man. Like a male police officer. But some people would want it, but you just have to be very cautious and kind of
for
gauge
sure.
how it's going.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you could do anything else, what would it be? Have you thought of that?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so what would it be?
I have 2 responses to this.
Okay, that's amazing.
A funeral director. I think I could easily transition into that.
Really?
You ever watch 6 Feet Under?
No, but I've heard good things about it.
Oh, good.
That's
Yeah.
Netflix.
Watching it again.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. We should watch it.
No, it's on Crave.
Crave. Okay, I have Crave. Yeah.
I have Crave too.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay.
And I think I could easily feel comfortable in that.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I wouldn't feel out of place.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
No one would talk to you.
Right? No one would ever talk back.
Well, it's funny. One of our episodes, we had
Oh, that's right.
Becky who lived in the funeral home.
And that's
Yeah, my girl.
To watch
Yeah.
that show again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I started.
Okay, so that's number 1.
And I don't know. I can't remember what it was. My other one was. I know funeral director. I cannot remember.
So do you think that you would transition to a different profession in this lifetime?
No.
Or no, you're done.
No,
You're
I've
stuck.
actually looked into it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm like,
She's done the research.
I'm trying to same kind of pay range, same kind of benefits, and it was like the computer was laughing at me because the first response was like, here's a list of 10. Professional hockey player. Oh.
Yeah, let me get right on that.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously this is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Because I can't start over. I can't go back to school.
Yeah.
My degree's not really transferable. I mean, I took English.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't spell or read, so
Yeah.
go very well.
So if you could change something about your profession for people like you, for women out there, for mothers out there, what are the things that you would do to make it better, to make it okay for people to struggle in it emotionally, mentally?
Okay.
Like, what are the things that you would do to change it?
So our serious units are like homicide and our sex assault unit.
Mm-hmm.
They have mandatory assessments every 6 months.
Right. Okay. With a psychiatrist sort of thing? Okay.
And fair enough, and they should. But what about the rest of us?
Yeah.
We're on the road or whatever, going to these calls, and you could have a very difficult day.
Yes.
Like a lot of people don't understand too, like this mental health, who we deal with.
Yeah.
I would say, and these statistics are not correct, but
Yeah.
I would say 80 to 90% on some capacity, we're dealing with someone with some sort of mental health issue.
Right.
And we're not trained in that. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
The only training I have is what I get, which we do get a lot of training.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can't do anything with that.
Yes.
So,
Like, you're basically empowered to put them on a mental health hold, right? Mm-hmm. To take them to the hospital and put them on a hold.
there's certain
Right.
serious criteria.
But that's like the most extreme that you
Yeah.
can do, right?
Yes.
Is to like take them to
Yeah,
the
take them to
hospital to
hospital.
protect themselves.
Yeah, and
Right?
the doctors.
But then they'll keep
Right.
them for 24 hours, and
if you're lucky.
that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a really nasty system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially
is.
like how they turn over 2 beds. It's just a nightmare. So we're put in this weird place
Right.
because people, and the problem with our mental health system is it is based solely on patient individual.
Right.
Outpatient care. Well, you have some really sick people who don't have any support at all. Do you
Right.
think they're going to go and get their meds and take them? Why? They're not forced to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it takes a toll on them, and then they get into a crisis, and that's when we're called, and it's, the police are this. But we're last resort.
And it's not the specialized units that are going out to them.
That's
it's
right.
the cops that are in the cars.
Yeah, I mean, we have, like, I know that there's some places that have, like, the mental health nurse that will go, but they only will go in after a crisis has been secured, because we can't put someone who's not trained in a serious situation.
Yeah.
And, okay, go ahead, nurse. He has a knife. It's your turn.
Yeah.
Like, we can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's right. We shouldn't be doing that anyway. So it's really hard to kind of deal in this society where they're kind of, like, the serious cases are just kind of out there, and they don't have the support that they actually need, and then, shit happens.
That's right.
But as far as changing it for me, so going back to that part of they get an assessment, I think, and I've started writing this, so I'm on a course actually this week, and there's always like a handout of how's the course or what would you do.
Yeah.
So it's my decision from now on, every single time I'm writing, you need to, if you care, you need to offer assessments every 6 to 12 months for every officer on this job. We're still killing ourselves with families, and it's just, I've always said it, and I tell every boss I have.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you my life or my marriage.
Yeah.
I'm not. Because to me, this is not a career anymore. This is literally my job, that I'm here and I've committed myself to it.
Yeah.
But that's all you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill myself for this. So
Yeah.
I'm going to retire. When you retire, everybody forgets you.
Yeah.
You're just
That's
a
right.
number. You're a
That's
badge
right.
number.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to see, because you do see it. It's very commonplace. It becomes people's like sole being. I'm a police officer first.
Yeah.
And that can suck you right in.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think assessments that, like, we have training every year.
Yeah.
Just have it. Even if they go in and don't talk, at least it's available.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's
Have you
what
have you thought of like creating like mini support groups just in your?
They do have them. However, I do not
But-
participate.
Yeah, because people look down on them, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There
Yeah.
they are.
But this is what I mean. This is the this is the foundation of the issue. It's
Yeah.
like they make these support groups and people are like, well, that's bullshit, so I'm not going to go. But it, then like suffer in silence.
Or it's very inconvenient. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna meet on a Friday downtown, wherever.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
in a, like just a place where like you might not work. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, that's why for me, it's like, I think, being accessible in this way, like for people to listen and to your point, find some solace in the fact that like, okay, there's 2 other crazy people out there who understand, right? So that people don't feel so isolated, right?
Yeah.
And you're in an extreme profession, right? So obviously we have limited ability to understand what toll that takes on an individual. However, we are also women. We're also mothers. We also
Yes,
have
more than
struggles, right? That are common.
I'll tell you, being a mom is way more difficult than my job, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's constant, and you are everything that they need to survive.
Yes. Yep.
And thrive. And survive is a minimum,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot, because you also you're questioning everything, and what worked yesterday doesn't work now,
Yep.
or or you're adapting to them all the time, and it's a lot.
Yeah. For sure.
It's a lot.
For sure.
I would say it's hard.
I think it's pretty hard. I do feel like it's pretty rough sometimes. Some days I'm like, oh, this was an easy day. And other days I'm just like,
There's not very many of those easy days, though.
yeah. Well, you know what? It's like the thing that I find so interesting about being a mother is like as they get older, the problems like change,
Yes,
right?
of
And the
course.
challenges change. And so I'm in this very interesting point in my life because I have an 11-year-old and a 1-year-old. So like the problems, the wide like range of issues is just so interesting. I'm just like, okay. And so, one of my things now is like, how do I raise good people in this world? That's so, I don't know if it's my perspective. I don't know if I'm just damaged because I feel like everything is negative, but it's like, how do I raise good people when they're surrounded by people who are just like total assholes and like people just don't give a shit about other people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I completely relate
So-
to what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. So
It's hard.
yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I think that if I had your job, I think I would think it was even harder because I'd be like, oh, people actually are really shitty. So
Yeah, because you see it firsthand.
I'd be like, oh, I was right about
yeah.
that. People are shitty. So fuck. What am I going to Yeah. Yeah.
So good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, best of luck to you. We're moving to Muskoka. We're living in the trees because everyone is crazy.
At it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Honestly, I think that's going to happen to me. I'm going to be like, bye. I can't deal with people anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is so random and not about anything, but I live in Milton. And people can't drive in Milton. I don't know why. I don't know if there's like some barrier around the city I live in where people, when they enter, they like lose their ability to drive. So getting anywhere in Milton is really, really obnoxious. On top of that, people drive like maniacs. So one of my friends, so my daughter had a birthday party. I'm really like going down a rabbit hole here, but I gotta say this. So my daughter had a birthday party, and one of her friends was in a head-on collision with her father because some guy fell asleep on the wheel and went into their lane. Head-on collision. Everyone was fine, thank goodness. So I live in this intersection that we refer to as the death intersection. Okay? In the time that I've lived in Milton, this corner house has lost their fence due to cars being hit through it for the 6th time. It happened yesterday. For the 6th time. Wow. I'm like, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? And like me and one of my neighbors, like she lives near there. She's like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like it just keeps happening. But it's like, because there's something wrong with people. I'm like, I can't. I need to leave. I can't. Like, why? Saturday afternoon. The conditions are dry. There's nothing happening. Yeah. Like right through. 2 cars just, and I see the poor man this morning when I'm driving here. He's like this little Asian man. He's like, oh, and he has a tarp, and he's like, and I'm like, where are the people that destroyed this fence? Like, they should be over here. Like, what are you doing? Like, people drinking and driving and all this fucked up shit. It's like, people are bad.
Yeah.
But listen to our podcast.
It might make you better people.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, it was a real pleasure.
Yes, Thank you.
Would you recommend, this is my last question, would you recommend people become a police officer?
No.
Don't do it.
I kind of knew what the answer was. It doesn't matter. It's like impossible to become a police officer anyways now. No. Really? Because I found people's feedback is like becoming a police officer and a teacher is like impossible.
Yeah,
unless you're ethnic.
In our family who've made it to like did the schooling, made it to the last interview.
Yeah.
And they're like, see you again next year.
Yeah, it's like unless you have an ethnicity that's interesting, or you're a woman for policing, and then conversely for teaching, unless you're a man or ethnic.
Yeah.
So if you're a white person, you probably won't get hired. Right?
Good luck.
Right? That's pretty true right now, I think. Like, even do you see the recruiting billboards? Nobody's white on those billboards.
That's very
I have not seen any of these billboards.
Oh, yeah. Nobody is white on the billboards.
Oh.
It's mostly in Peel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyways. But thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. And thank you for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.